The investigative committee has charged former military psychologist Timofey Rudenko. He criticized the war unleashed by Russia in Ukraine. Several years ago, he resigned from the service. Since May 2022, he has been repeatedly detained by the police. The charges vary from petty hooliganism to preparing a terrorist act for May the 9th. Now Rudenko is under investigation.
It is quite obvious that they are now gathering information that will allow them to bring a case. It could be related to his profession, his social media activity and messages, anything. Only he can know the details. I am sure that operatives came to him with questions, from which we can assume in what direction they are digging. Evgeny Smirnov, the lawyer of the First Department, in an interview with Current Time.
Rudenko repeatedly complained about torture and threats from law enforcement officers, including a threat to rape him. Meanwhile, a resident of Krasnodar was sentenced to 6 years in prison for posts about Mariupol and Bucha. According to the law enforcement officers, 18-year-old Moscow activist Maxim Lipkany also spread fakes. Today, he is the youngest defendant under the article on fakes about the Russian army.
Imagine that as soon as you turn 18, you are put in a detention center for your views, opinions, and the expression of those opinions. You had plans for the near future, for a much more distant future, and it all just falls apart. It is very hard for him, and not only for him, for any young man it would be hard. Alan Kachmazov, lawyer, in an interview with Current Time.
In March 2023, the Human Rights Project Memorial recognized the activist as a political prisoner. In June, Maxim was awarded the annual Boris Nemtsov Prize for courage in defending democratic rights and freedoms. At the moment, Maxim's case is still under preliminary investigation. The regime continues to hunt down arsonists of military enlistment officers. For example, a turner from the Amur region was sentenced to 1 year and 8 months in a penal colony for attempting to set fire to a military recruitment center, and in Izhevsk, the court sent a 19-year-old boy to a pre-trial detention center for setting fire to a relay cabinet on the railway.
According to the investigation, on July 14th, the accused set fire to a relay cabinet on the railway section Lukshuda-Zavodskaya. The investigation believes that it was done for money, so the young man filmed the arson on his phone and took measures to conceal the means and instruments of the crime. From an article at Mediazona.
The so-called attackers are being sought out in various ways, monitoring social networks, checking denunciations, detention at protests, and actively using the facial recognition system. Early on July the 4th, the European Court of Human Rights issued a ruling explicitly condemning the usage of facial recognition by Russian police against dissenters from the regime. OVD Info is aware of almost 600 cases of the usage of facial recognition system against dissenters, 141 of which were for preventive detention.
Facial recognition systems have also been used to search for people subject to mobilization. In addition, now cameras on Russian borders are also planned to be equipped with similar function. In spring 2023, Kyrgyzstan also joined the system. Now, if Russia has declared a person wanted by CIS, he can be tracked there as well. From an article at OVD Info.
However, the Russian courts, unlike the European Court of Human Rights, did not see in this neither discrimination, nor violation of the right to respect for private life, nor infringement of freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. In all cases, the courts of first instance refused to recognize the detentions and the usage of the facial recognition system as unlawful. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.